and was in love basically with the library.
Hey guys, so as you saw, I went to the Black British Book Festival last weekend, and I want to just dedicate some time and space on my channel to talk about it, because you know me, I love black books, especially Black British books. I love championing them and talking about them on my channel. So I want to talk about some of the books I got, some of the speakers, and just my general thoughts and feelings about this book festival. So please remember, of course, to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and to follow me on Twitter. It is the Heroine's Corner, and let's get into this. Firstly, I want to say it was set in the Midlands, it was set in Birmingham, guys, and if you are like a creative in any way, if you know about the publishing industry, if you know about just like any creative industry, you know just how London centric everything is. And when I first saw the Black British Book Festival, I was like, okay, gonna have to like budget couple quid, you know what I mean, to get a train to go to London to go to the book festival. And then when I saw it was in Birmingham, I was like, it doesn't happen, okay? Like seriously, it just doesn't happen often enough. So I don't know, I was just so giddy that like this big black book festival was happening in the Midlands, not in London. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't cost me arm and a leg and half a day to get there, you know what I mean? It was just like, it was just so great it being in the Midlands. So Selena Brown made this festival to kind of demystify the publishing industry, because as we all know, it could be a very complex industry to interact with. But primarily, I think it's just to encourage friendships, to encourage networking and connections between people who are in the industry, especially when it comes to just Black British people in the industry, and to kind of like cultivate this community spirit between everyone. And I think the community spirit and that aspect was certainly there at the festival. I was going up to random people, just like asking them questions about what, like if they're authors, what are they doing in the industry, and just, you know what I mean, just trying to form those connections with people. And it was so fun to do that, and people came up to me as well asking me the same thing. A lot of people thought I was an author like no, but like I talked to them about my booktube channel. I was just really like soaking up all of this good vibes, the good energy. I was just absolutely loving it. So I do want to talk about some of the books I received at the festival. I'm still on my book buying ban, guys. So the books I received were kind of just like given to me. So there's one store that was just like giving out free books, guys. I was like, oh my gosh. I think they were part of a charity that was aiming to just increase literacy, reading, all that kind of stuff. So I picked up 2 books from there. Firstly, I picked up Grown, a celebration of Black British girlhood that will empower a generation, by Melissa Cummings Quarry and Natalie A. Carter, and illustrated by Dorcas Magbagdello. And this is actually like a proof copy, guys. I think they're just giving out proofs. It says at the back. And it came out September last year, and I've been really wanting to pick this up. Books that center on Black girlhood I immediately love anyway, but I love that it's just like Black British girlhood as well. I read some other books that focus on Black British girlhood as well last year. I think like Taking Up Space was one of them, and I really enjoyed that. I think I can definitely gain something from this, even though I'm definitely not the target audience, I would say. And the other book I picked up from that store was They Don't Teach This by Aniola Aluko, and I really picked this up because her face was familiar. I think she was a footballer and now she's a sports commentator. Aniola Aluko is a former England footballer with over 100 caps and 33 goals to her name. Her club sides include Birmingham City, Chelsea. Aniola was the first female pundit on Match of the Day. She is a newspaper columnist and an ambassador for UN Women UK. She holds a first-class honours degree in law. Okay. I don't really know what else to say, guys. Like, I really just picked it up because it's a black woman and her face was familiar, and it's nonfiction, and I do enjoy nonfiction. So I was like, and it was free, so I picked it up. I don't know when I'm going to get to this book, but I've never read like a sports nonfiction either. So another book I received at the festival was this book, Round and Round, written and illustrated by Jeremy Salmon. And yeah, I was talking to him at the stall, and he was telling me a lot about this book. And essentially it's about economic literacy. It's about black kids knowing how money works, how kind of economics works. Economic literacy is so important just to operate in the world. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that like you learn financial literacy to become a capitalist, but it's just to kind of understand how the world works around you. So I was really kind of supportive of the ideas and messages of this book, and the writer was like kind enough to like give me a copy to just show you guys, and I'll leave a link down below to this book as well. It's a self-published book, and it's going to come with its own workbook as well. But as you see, all the characters are blackly black, talking about finance and stuff like that. At the back it does mention Black Wall Street, Greenwood, Oklahoma, as a like example of, you know, the black community coming together, group economics, community economics. There's also another book I'm going to be leaving down below called Afroboy, and I was speaking to the writer of that book a lot during the Black British Festival, and it's basically a way of engaging young black boys to continue reading. I want to leave a link to her book down below. I was supposed to get that book at the festival, but I couldn't get it, unfortunately. But I really love the author and what she was doing. So the last book I have to show you is Brilliance of Hope, which is an anthology of short stories by Zimbabwean writers, and it is compiled and edited by Samantha, Rumbidzai, Vazhure. Sorry if I butchered that name, like I'm so sorry, I'm bad at names. She is also the mother of Rudolph from What's Rudolph Reading, which is a booktube channel which focuses on African literature. And she actually spotted me at the start of the festival, and she was like, I know you. I'm like, I know you too. And then it both clicked, like we're both from booktube. Sadly, I didn't bump into her again at the festival. I did bump into her mom, and her mom was talking about her publishing kind of company and what she's been doing during lockdown. Her mom's so nice, I love her. But yeah, and she actually like gifted me this book to kind of read and talk about on my channel. So I am planning on like reading this kind of soon, because I don't want this to be a book that's just like on my shelf. And I've also been meaning to read some Zimbabwean fiction, so this would be the best place to start, I guess. So those are the books that I acquired, but as you saw from clips, there are loads of different self-published books on display, but also some traditionally published books as well. I spent some time at the Penguin Random House kind of store. It wasn't just Penguin Random House, but most of the books were from Penguin Random House, and were like just other smaller kind of displays from books that were published traditionally. Traditional publishers and the self-published authors were kind of just on the same pedestal, but given the same amount of like respect, I would say, which you don't always find. And that goes on to the speakers as well. There was a lovely mixture of self-published speakers and speakers who were in the traditional publishing kind of world. So I really enjoyed that. We had some great people speaking at the festival as well. We had Diane Ewan, who is a children's illustrator, and if you're into kid lit, children's lit, you probably have seen some of her illustrations. They're really colorful and just like beautiful. Just I love her illustrations, they're so great. There was also a talk with Laura Henry Elaine, and she is like a big name in kid lit as well. And recently her book got a bit of controversy because it was talking about racism, whatever, but she was great. I loved listening to her too. Sadly, Lenny Henry couldn't come. A lot of people were bummed out that Lenny Henry was supposed to turn up and he didn't, but he gave a really nice small kind of clip of him speaking about his book and about his writing journey. So it was all fine in the end. But we also had people from inside the industry. So we had editors speaking, and we also had agents speaking, giving advice to prospective potential published authors, but also to anyone who was kind of thinking about going down agenting or editing as a route into publishing. Felt very insightful, and I actually talked to one of the publishers, Sweet Cherry Publishing. I sat next to them, like I kind of bumped into them, and then I sat next to them for the majority of the day, and they're really nice people, and it was great, like, talk to them and then listening to them speak as well on stage. And yeah, there was just like a lot of different authors about as well. We had Lola J, and if you remember, Lola J's Attic Child was actually in my top Black British releases in 2022 video. So she was there. There were people like Sandra Carter, Samantha Samadu, Indigo Williams, Jasmine Richards, Selena Brown. I was actually at the festival for most of the day. I did not go to the last panel, sadly, but at that point I hadn't eaten all day. That's not healthy. Don't do that. There was food being sold as well. There was like rice and beans, jerk chicken. I think there was some fried chicken as well, like, you know, just traditional Caribbean kind of food. I tried on 3 separate occasions, and I could not get to the top of the queue before another talk was happening, so I just didn't eat. Again, not healthy. Don't do that. So by the time it came around to like 7:30, I was like, okay, we need to go home and we need to get some food. But the last talk that I did go to was by David Elasoga, who, if that name rings a bell and you've been watching my channel for a while, is because he is the author of Black British, A Forgotten History, and I just admire him so much. I admire like the research and the time he's really put into exploring Black British history and putting it in a book. And Black British of Forgotten History was one of the first books, if not the first book, I reviewed on this channel. So I was very excited for that. The whole auditorium was packed to hear him speak, and his speak was wonderful. It was just talk about the erasure of Black British history. And then there was a Q&A session. I did ask a question. I asked a question and he answered it really well. It was about anti-intellectualism and how we're supposed to combat that. Also, I made friends with Miranda Kaufman, who is the author of Black Tudors, and which is so surreal because I've seen her name about like for a long time now, like since I was doing A-level history, and like just to like, she follows me on Twitter. Miranda Kaufman follows me as well. I kind of love that. Like, that was just a cherry on the cake. I was like, this has been great. And now I just want to give you some of my final thoughts and feelings about the Black British Festival. I can't wait to go next year. It's just such a lovely atmosphere, just being around people who love and appreciate Black British literature as much as I do, and wants to see it like thrive, wants to see it grow. I just love just being around people like that, you know what I mean? I got a lot of inspiration, a lot of just like buzz from being there essentially. So thank you, Selena Brown, for founding this Black British Book Festival, and I hope it just goes from strength to strength. And I also hope I just start a trend of like some of these big book festivals just kind of migrating out of London, because there's so much creativity, there's so much potential when you just leave the London bubble. But that's it for today's video, guys. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, follow me on Twitter, Heroine's Corner, and I'll see you guys soon in another video soon. Bye.